Hi, this is Rick Bennett with Accordance, giving you a first look at the Bhq modules recently released. To start off, let's get an overview of the various modules that we've divided this up into with a brief explanation of each, and then we can go into a few examples of how you can set this up and use it within Accordance. First, looking at the Hebrew text, you can see that there are not that many differences between the BHS, at least for those that are familiar with it. The major difference is the use of this circle right here, or circlet. This indicates a reading in the Masorah. Other than that, the editors did not use any kind of footnote system in the text to indicate a textual variant, so you can see it's a very clean and easy to read text. Next, the apparatus is divided up like most of our module resources are, in that we have the Hierarchal Browser on the left-hand side, which gives the titles for all the works and allows you to navigate through it. I recommend starting with the English introduction, which gives you the broad introduction to this series as a whole, all the background information you could ever want to know about it, the text, the Masorah, the apparatus, so on and so forth. This really is the best place to start to get an idea of how this resource is to be used and how it was designed. And then moving on through, you can see that it's divided up by each section or fascicle. Each one will have an introduction which gives you information on the witnesses used to comprise it. Next, the Bhq Commentary is the textual commentary that is provided in each of the volumes. It gives you some fine details on the witnesses, the variants, the decisions that were made, and a whole host of information, which is very helpful in understanding the textual apparatus. Next, we have the Masorah Magna, and then last, the Masorah Parva. One thing to note that's interesting about our collation of this material is that we've also included in here notes on each one. And what this is that there is a separate section in the print edition called Notes on the Masorah Magna and Notes on the Masorah Parva. Instead of keeping these in different sections of the printed edition, or how the printed edition did, we merged these in together with each verse reference that has a reading in the Masorah. So it's very easy to get that information all together at once without having to flip back and forth to different locations. Transitioning to a specific example, I have here one possible arrangement of these resources that I put together that somewhat mimics the print edition. As you can see here, this is a PDF of the beginning of Ruth, and here you have the main text of the Bhq. On the left-hand side over here, you have the Masorah Parva. Below, you have the Masorah Magna, and then the textual apparatus. And that's all that's visible on a specific page. The textual commentary, notes on Masorah Magna, notes on Masorah Parva are not visible. And so what I've done here is I've displayed the Bhq text, the Masorah Parva in a separate pane over here, the Masorah Magna down below. And then I have linked together in separate zones using our tie command, where you can set tab and tie it to the specific resource. I have here the Bhq apparatus and the Bhq commentary, so that when I navigate to a different verse reference, say Ruth 1, it will sync all together with each other, or the same thing will happen if you scroll and jump from verse to verse as well too. And so you can see here that in this particular verse, you have the reading of the Masorah Magna, you have the notes on the Masorah Magna, as I mentioned before, and you can see how helpful it is to see the notes there in line with the text. And then with the apparatus, all the symbols are, of course, hyperlinked. And then here you can read the commentary. And this, to me, has been a really valuable resource, because it's one thing to be able to read the apparatus. It's another thing to have a detailed textual and academic commentary on the verse itself and the witnesses and what's going on in the variant. And the last example I want to show you is a quick look at some of the possibilities that you have in textual criticism of the Hebrew Bible. Here I have displayed the Bhq text. I have the BHS W4 text, which is our BHS text tags with the Groves Wheeler Westminster Hebrew morphology. And I have displayed along with it is an interlinear with the Samaritan Pentateuch, the JPS English translation, and then a couple of the apparatuses that we offer, including the Bhq apparatus and commentary. And you can see here, this is a really powerful display of what you can do in Accordance. You can hover over a specific word, and you can see how it's represented in other versions that you can put in parallel with the interlinear. I can hover over a word in a English Strong's tag text and have it highlight the Hebrew text. And then you can go through and you can look at the different apparatuses, hover over the symbols, and get a full explanation of these things without having to flip back and forth in a printed text. And really, you can't even do this type of thing in a printed text because these separate resources are not designed in that fashion in print. So overall, we hope you enjoy the work that we put into the BHQ series, and look forward to the new volumes as they become available. This has been a first look at the BHQ in accordance. Thank you.